enough, Mr. Williams.
Miss Sager.
Mrs. Sager.
Mrs. Sager. Would you please put that rifle down? I came here without any guns, without any means of force whatsoever.
You come here with force.
Now, Mrs. Sager...
Come here to force me out of my house, off my land.
Mrs. Sager, please...
Nobody shoves me off of my land, Mr. Williams. Nobody. This land is mine. It's free and clear, every inch of it.
I've no doubt...
My husband staked this land 25 years ago. He homesteaded it and raised cattle on it every year till he died. Every year till he died, he raised cattle on this land.
I have every respect for you.
And nobody takes me off this land, Mr. Williams, you or your filthy railroad or anybody else. My husband left me this land, and he said, Libby, this is your land and you keep it. I said, Howard, I swear by everything decent, nobody'll ever take this land away from me. A solemn and a holy oath, Mr. Williams, to a dying man.
Mrs. Sager, now, listen to me for just a minute.
Well, I know what you're going to say.
Just a minute. 1 minute, Mrs. Sager.
Said it 100 times if you said it once.
Please, Mrs. Sager, just 1
well,
minute.
Well, go on, talk then. Talk and get it over with. 1 minute.
1 minute.
That's right.
I represent the railroad.
I know that.
And we have reserved from the United States government a right-of-way of land across the United States for our railroad, Transcontinental Railroad, Mrs. Sager, Transcontinental. The United States government...
United States government, I heard you. What do you want to do, scare me or something?
Transcontinental, it's progress, Mrs. Sager. You can't hold back the time.
That's what you always say. You can't hold
Your
back
land. Your land, Mrs. Sager, is directly in the right-of-way. Now, we're willing, more than willing, we're happy to pay you 3 times the worth of this land.
I said I wouldn't sell, Mr. Williams. How many times I got to repeat it?
It's not a matter of... Mrs. Sager, please, I wish you'd lower that carbine. It's making me nervous.
I noticed you shaking. The minute's almost up.
The point is, you've got to sell. You're on public land to be reconverted. Now, we sent you a check and a notice to get off the land. No, not us. The United States government. That makes it mandatory, compulsory.
It's a free country.
Progress, Mrs. Sager, for the common good.
It's a free country. I can live where I want, and this is where I'm living. And let me tell you something, Mr. Williams. I'm staying right here. You could have orders from the president. I'm just as good a citizen as he is. Now you just scoot off on this property.
I'd hate to have to call the United States Marshal. Now, Mrs. Sager, I don't like to use force when reason will do.
Get off this property, Mr. Williams, or I'm going to remember the United States government has a law about trespassing. Did you hear me? Scoot.
You can't hold back the times. That's what I told her, Marshal. She held that rifle on me every second. It seems funny to you, I suppose.
No, I didn't mean to laugh at you, Mr. Williams, but... Well, Libby Sager's quite a woman. I've known her a long time. I knew her husband.
Anybody could be married to that.
Now, what you've got to understand about Libby is, Mr. Williams, that Libby isn't an ordinary woman.
That's sure.
No, Libby is... Well, she's kind of like the West. I mean by that, she's got her ways, and her ways are free. And she's hard to tame.
Well, I'll tell you this, Marshal. In the railroad business, when we come to a mountain, if we can't go around it, we blast right through it.
Yeah, well, I'm not so sure I'd try that with Libby if I were...
Marshal, I've tried talking to her. I've sent her letters. I've tried everything. There's no moving.
Yeah, I know. But you've got to keep in mind that Libby's lived there for almost a quarter of a century.
I've got a job to do.
Look, can't you go around her land?
Oh, fine. A straight line track for a few 100 miles, then all of a sudden it juts out for a few little acres, and then back to another straight line for another 100 miles.
I would break it up a little, wouldn't it?
Marshal, I want you to get out there with this order. It's an order to vacate. Every time we send her a check, she sends it right back. So here's a check to go with the order.
Look, Mr. Williams, she's not going to move. I know that woman, and she's not going to move.
That's a United States government order, and you're the United States
Oh,
Marshal.
please, Mr. Williams, don't remind me of my duties. There's some things I don't like about this job. Eviction and seizure. Chester.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon.
Eviction. Federal order.
Libby Sager, yes, sir.
You weren't listening at the door, were you, Chester?
Oh, no, sir. My, absolutely not, Mr. Dillon. It's just I am cursed with wonderful ears. Comes from so many nights out hunting. Why, my whole family got ears.
All right, Chester.
Mr. Dillon, isn't there some way the railroad can go around that property? I purely hate to see that woman.
He's made me a villain when I'm just doing my job.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Williams, I guess we all feel a little like that right now. Come on, Chester.
Listen, this here...
Now hold it, Libby.
Saw you through the curtains.
Well, I saw you peeking.
Coward little railroad has to bring the marshal.
Mr. Williams
I
asked
had
me
to, Mrs. Sager. I told you before that...
Hot-bellied little railroad had to get the marshal.
Now, Libby, I want you to put that carbine down, and I want you to act like a human being. Huh?
Don't you start anything with me, that kind of talk. Now, Matt Dillon, I knew you too long for that kind of talk.
Libby, what would Howard have said if he could see you standing there holding a carbine on me?
You can say what you got to say right here and right now. Just leave my poor dead husband out of this.
You think he'd stand in the way of progress the way you are?
Progress? That big, loud, steaming, dirty thing a-howling by, black smoke, bringing in the trash from back east? You call that progress?
I'll make a deal with you, Libby. You put down your gun, and I'll send Mr. Williams and Chester back to town, huh?
I got nothing to say to you, Marshal.
Chester.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon.
Here, take my gun, Chester. And this.
What are you doing, Mr. Dillon? You took off your star.
I'll take it back to the office with you, and take Mr. Williams with you, too. Libby and I are going to talk.
Yes, sir. Come on, Mr. Williams.
You can't hold back the times, Mrs. Sager.
Get him off here,
You better go, Mr. Williams.
I'll see you back in town, Marshal.
Well, Libby, aren't you going to ask me in?
I told you, Marshal.
The name's still Matt, Libby. No star. See? Now can I come in?
Well, I suppose.
Thank you. Looks just about the same.
Yeah, it's going to stay that way. Nothing's going to come steaming through this sitting room. Sit down, Matt.
Libby, I'd give anything not to have to give you this order, but... Here.
Well, Howard took me out here to this piece of land. He staked it out here because it had a creek for the cattle and some good grassland. We just got married. Took me out here and stood me right about where you're standing now. And he said, Libby, this is ours. Yours and mine.
Uh-huh.
He built this place, Matt. Every board he split with his own hands. Every board of it, every nail in it.
Yeah, I know.
You don't know. 3 days and 3 nights, just the two of us. Behind that upsot wagon, caught out there in the attack. Oh, they'd have burned the house down. But we held 'em off. All of them Indians, a-hooping and a-hollering. Wasn't until the second day they got him.
Yeah.
Oh, that arrow must have been terrible inside him. It was like something in my own chest, man, I swear. It couldn't have hurt no more. I held him in my arms. I was crying. I couldn't help it. And he looked like a little boy. I swear it seemed like he wasn't a man anymore. He's just a little boy in my arms there. He said, "Libby, you gotta hang on to the land, Libby. It's all there is." I said, "I know it, Howard." He said, "Don't let nobody drive you off here." I said, "Howard, I won't." And I didn't. I stayed there, no food, no water, 2 days more, still waiting. But they'd gone, and the place was still mine.
Libby.
Now, do you think I'm going to get off of this land now just because of a little piece of paper? Matt, you go on back. Tell that railroad I'm here for good. Dead or alive. Next time, you better keep your guns.
Marshal? What'd she say, Marshal? Talk didn't do any good, did it? I knew it wouldn't.
Mr. Williams, you did your job. Now, why don't you go back to the hotel and we'll get in touch with you, huh?
Sure. Marshal.
Yeah,
You sure you don't need me for anything?
I'm sure.
Okay.
Well, hello, Mr. Williams.
Hello, Chester.
Where's he going, Mr. Dillon?
I sent him back to the hotel, Chester. Hand me that chamois there, will you?
Yes, sir. Here.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Dillon,
What?
if she don't leave peaceable, you gonna carry her out?
Well, we'll see what happens, Chester.
I mean, if she don't come out peaceable.
Look, Chester, that railroad's going to be here for a long time. A long time. Now, there are going to be a lot of people dependent on it for beef and for everything else. And Libby's just one person. Just one person.
One person, yes, sir.
That's right.
That's right, Mr. Dillon. Mr. Dillon, I've never seen you like this before.
Chester, I can't do it.
All right. You gave her 10 days to give you an answer, Mr. Dillon. And the order come down almost a month ago. You did everything you could. If you asked me, you oughtn't to feel bad. You just got to do it, that's all.
Never hurt anybody. Paid all her bills. Now we got to run her off her land.
Well, it wasn't nobody's fault that Howard Sager homesteaded on what was going to be a railroad track. Wasn't his fault, nor her fault, nor your fault. Wasn't even the railroad's fault.
I know you're right, Chester. You're right.
And Mr. Dillon, she'll have enough money she can live anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Sure. Anywhere except where she really wants to live.
Well,
Yeah, I know, Chester. Well, it's almost 10:30. We gave her till noon today. I guess we better get packing.
Guess we better.
Oh, well up.
Oh. Well, sir. Here's the gate.
Go ahead, Chester.
After you, Mr. Dillon.
Matt Dillon?
Oh,
There she is, Mr. Dillon, on the porch. She's got her carbine.
yeah, I see her.
Get off my property.
Libby! Now, we gave you plenty of notice.
Get off my property, Marshal, or I'll shoot. Now, you know me, Matt. I don't just talk.
Libby, you got your check. Now, why don't you...
I'm counting three. You're not starting off this land by the count of three. I'm going to shoot. I swear it, Matt. You're a perfect target now. I'm warning you.
Libby,
One,
why...
2, 3.
Come on, Mr. Dillon. That big rock over there.
Way over our heads.
Yeah, she meant it that way.
Makes me feel a little silly running cover from a woman.
I got a decent respect for Libby's eye, Chester.
Well, what do we do, Mr. Dillon?
Well,
We can't just stay here forever.
look. Maybe we can sneak up from the other side. You think you could work your way around?
I imagine so.
All right. And Chester.
Now, don't worry, Mr. Dillon. I'm not going to use no gun.
All right. If you can get in the house and get that rifle away from her, I'll just stay out here and try to keep her attention.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good luck. Libby!
I'm going to shoot to kill, Matt. Next man tries to get me out of here, shoot to kill.
Hot.
That's right, Sam. Here's to you, Williams. Sure.
I must be getting drunk. Even this stuff tastes good.
Sam,
I can't help admire that woman. But then I'm always the one to boost the underdog.
we got to start construction on the 18th to keep the schedule. You haven't even had a chance to start surveying.
One woman standing alone against a whole mess of us.
Spikes, crew, rail,
It's inspiring.
ties all creosoted. I'll get bounced, sure.
Let me tell you, Williams, she's one out of a million.
Quite a woman.
Quite a woman.
Yeah.
I said then and I say right now, nobody takes that woman off her land alive. Nobody. She's got more real stuff in her than you and me put together.
You're drunk.
hanging on to the last breath. Why, it's wonderful.
Woman like that can't hold back the progress of a whole nation.
Absolutely not.
Nobody can hold back the time.
Time and tide wait for no man.
If everybody felt like her, there wouldn't be any railroads. There wouldn't be any progress whatsoever.
You need a drink.
Maybe I do. Sam? I don't think that marshal's doing a thing out there.
Minion of the law.
Strikes me as sentimental, that marshal.
Oh, I don't know.
Point is, there's a job to do. I think we ought to go out there and prod him.
Well, you said he told you to stay in the hotel room.
I know.
No, that's what you said.
Well,
if you want to go down there, it's fine with me, but that's what you told me he said.
Well, how does it look, the railroad representative taking the afternoon off at a time like this, huh? Hand me my holster.
Huh? Well, what do you want guns for?
I'll tell you what I think. I think the woman's a little demented holding herself up that way. Her husband's death, years alone in that house. She's crazy.
Fanatic.
Yeah.
Here.
Thanks. Fully loaded.
She's a wonderful woman, though.
Dead shot with that rifle of hers. I'm not going out there unprotected.
I don't blame you a bit. I think I'll take my holster, too.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
What?
One for the road, huh?
No more.
One for Libby? Oh, what do you say?
All right. One for Libby. To Libby Sager.
The spirit of the Old West.
Right.
Hey, you know they'll write a song about her? How the track was built over her soul? And they'll write a song about us, too.
Oh, stop it. You're drunk. How's it going, Marshal?
Didn't I tell you to stay back at the hotel?
I brought Sam with me. Thought maybe you could use some help. Sam,
huh? Hello, Marshal.
You don't mind if we just stick around, do you?
Well, stay back and keep quiet.
Where's your friend?
Trying to sneak in the back. Only trouble
Marshal?
is... Right here, Libby.
I got my eye on that sidekick of yours. You either call him back or I'm going to have to shoot him.
Chester!
Oh, coming, Mr. Dillon.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dillon.
No, it's all right, Chester. It just didn't work, that's all.
I declare I can't figure how she spotted me. You don't know how careful
Yeah, I
was
know.
walking.
Looks like there's only one thing to do. Let's go in after her.
Now you're talking.
Fine.
Now, you two just stay right where you are, and no guns, you understand?
Sure.
Libby! Libby, we're coming in! Now put your carbine up, Libby.
Come on, Marshal, just come on. I'm ready.
Now, let's go, Chester, and stay close to the ground.
We can weave over to that rock over there, then behind the barn, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Close, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, all right, run. You all right, Chester?
Just scared, that's all.
Why, that crazy fool.
What's the matter, Mr. Dillon?
That surveyor. Sam, leave that rifle alone!
I'm just covering for you, Marshal.
She hit him, Mr. Dillon.
Oh, he's going to shoot back. Sam!
Mr. Dillon. He got her, Mr. Dillon.
Come on, Chester. Libby?
A good shot, Marshal.
It wasn't him, Miss Sager.
Lift up her head, Chester.
It's better this way. Matt. much better this way.
Marshal? Oh, I didn't mean to, Marshal.
I told you to put up that gun.
I was trying to cover for you. When she got me in my shoulder, I didn't think. I just...
Might.
You just lay quiet, Libby. We'll send for the doc.
Now you let me be. Say, Matt.
Yeah, Libby.
Matt, I bet you people don't forget me so easy.
They won't, Libby.
You know, Matt, I'll bet they'll remember me every time.
Yeah. Every time that train whistle blows.
My gracious.
You know, Chester, sometimes progress is hard to come by.
Chester, do you have to do that? You're just stirring up a lot of dust.
Well, cleanliness is next to godliness, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, I know, Chester, but all you're doing is getting it off the floor into the air. Man can hardly breathe in here.
All right, Mr. Dillon. I'll do my sweeping later.
Yeah, good.
My mother taught me that, Mr. Dillon.
Taught you what, Chester?
That cleanliness is next to godliness. She was a fine woman, too.
Oh, look, Chester, it's a good saying, and it's probably true, and I got nothing against your mother, except that she also should have taught you how to sweep.
Well, maybe she just didn't have the time, Mr. Dillon. You see, there was an awful lot of us, and what with chores and...
Oh, hello, Doc.
Come on, I'll buy you a drink.
What?
Doc said he'd buy you a drink, Mr. Dillon.
He really said that?
You coming?
Doc, you got to quit throwing your money around the way you do.
Maybe you don't need a drink.
No, wait a minute, Doc. I'm with you. I'll tell you all about it when I get back, Chester.
I'd be mighty interested, Mr. Dillon.
Oh, sure be glad when it gets winter again.
Why, Doc? You'll just complain about the cold, then.
I suppose. You go sit with Kitty, Matt. I'll bring a bottle of Irish over.
Okay, Doc. Hello, Kitty.
Hello, Matt. What are you and Doc up to?
Hey, he wants someone to talk to, so he picked me. And you.
Fine. I'm a good listener. Lots of practice.
Nice. You like Jameson's, don't you, Kitty?
Sure, Doc. What are we celebrating?
Let's see here. We'll drink to a fellow that you don't know. Cain Vestal.
Well, here's to him.
Yeah?
Here's to him. Yes, he'll be dead in a couple of months.
What?
That's what I told him.
What do you mean, Doc?
Well, I'm not the only one who's told him that. I'm just the last.
Well, who is this Cain Vestal, Doc?
Oh, he's just a fella. Came in on the train last night, leaving for Arizona tomorrow.
Huh?
That's where he's going to die, in Arizona. He's a musician. He plays the guitar, he tells me.
Well, how's he going to die?
Consumption. He's got it bad. I'm the last doctor who's going to ask about it, he says.
Poor fella.
Yeah, the climate out there keep him going for a little while longer. I don't know. He's such a sad man for some reason.
Well, who wouldn't be, Doc?
No, Kitty. I think Cain's been sad for a long, long time. He's a very nice fellow, too.
Nothing can help him, huh?
No, nothing.
You know, it's a funny thing, Doc. I'm just sitting here thinking. Sometimes you have to tell men they're going to die. Sometimes I have to.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, say, there he is. See that fellow with the car there? He just came in.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think he knows anyone around here. You mind if I ask him over?
Well, sure. Your party, Doc.
Oh, good. Cain? Cain? Over here? Sit down. Sit down. Cain, this is Kitty.
Hello,
Miss
Cain.
Kitty. This is Marshal Dillon.
Hello, Marshal.
Pleasure to meet you.
He's doing it, yeah. There we are. Have a drink.
Well, thank you, Doc.
This your first trip west, Cain?
Yes, Marshal, it is.
Well, where are you from?
Why, no place in particular, Miss Kitty. I seem to spend most of my life on the Mississippi River.
I thought you were a musician.
I am. I was hired to ride the river boats and play my guitar for the passengers.
Oh.
Well, at least you've had a constant change of scenery.
After 20 years of going up and down that river, it got pretty familiar, Marshal.
Well, Cain, I knew a young fella back in St. Louis before the war, and he was learning to be a river pilot. Say, I wonder if you ever ran into him. Name of Clemens, Sam Clevens?
No, Doc, I don't believe I did.
Oh, he was a very amusing fella. He was just chock full of stories.
You leaving Dodge tomorrow, Cain?
I'm headed for Arizona, Miss Kitty. No reflection on Dodge, though.
If you hit a place out there called Tombstone, I wish you'd look up Virgil Earp for me. Tell him I sent you, huh?
Thanks, Marshal. I'll do that.
Say, Cain, I wonder, could I ask you a favor?
Why, certainly, Miss Kitty. Anything at all.
Well, would you play something for us?
I had an idea that's what it'd be. Anything in particular?
Oh, play something you like, Cain.
Another girl I knew used to like this one.
Nice.
Fine,
that
Cain,
was
just
very
fine.
pretty. Thank you, Miss Kitty.
I wish you were going to stay here a while. Maybe you could teach me to play like that, huh?
It'd be a pleasure, Miss Kitty. But I'm afraid I won't be around for long.
Morning, Mr. Dillon.
It's noon, Chester.
Yes, sir, I know, but you went off with Doc yesterday, so I figured I had a little time coming today.
Well, that depends on how you spent it. Now, if you've been gambling,
Now, Mr. Dillon, you know I never gamble. No, sirree. I was out helping a fellow learn to shoot a six-gun, that's all.
Now? You mean there's a man in Dodge who doesn't know how?
This fellow don't. Never had one in his hand before. He's a musician.
What?
Plays the guitar, he told me.
You mean Cain? Cain Vestal?
Yes, sir, that's his name. Nice a fellow as you'd ever want to meet.
Yeah. But he was supposed to leave on the stage this morning. And what's he done with his 6-gun anyway?
Well, I don't know, Mr. Dillon. He just come by here early this morning and asked me if I'd teach him.
Now, where'd he get the gun?
Said he'd just bought it. Anything wrong, Mr. Dillon?
No. It just doesn't add up somehow, that's all.
Oh, well, he won't cause any trouble. He's not the sort.
You never know, Chester.
No, sir. And my Kitty looks pretty this morning. She's got a yellow parasol, Mr. Dillon.
Kitty? Oh, I think I'll go see her for a minute. I'll be right back, Chester.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon.
Kitty?
Hello, Matt.
Kitty, I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
Oh, sure. What is it?
I'm curious about something, Kitty. Maybe you can help me.
Maybe.
How long was Cain Vessel with you yesterday?
Cain. Oh, well, he didn't leave till evening. Why?
Well, he didn't go out on the stage this morning, and he's bought himself a 6-gun. You any idea why?
A gun?
Uh-huh.
Doesn't sound like Cain.
Anything happened yesterday, Kitty, or did he tell you anything?
Well, yeah, there was one thing, Matt. Joel Adams and a couple of his men came in.
Yeah?
Cain got pretty upset when he saw him had a bad coughing spell.
Oh?
Later, he asked a lot of questions about Adams.
Well, what'd you tell him?
Just that Adams is a big landowner around here, that nobody who isn't working for him likes him very much. That's all I know, anyway.
Yeah. They didn't talk, Adams and Cain.
No. I don't think they even know each other.
Well, anyway, he sure isn't the sort to be packing a gun.
Oh, you'll just get into trouble, Matt.
Yeah. Where's he staying, did he say?
Dodge House, I think.
Yeah. Thanks, Kitty. I'll see you later.
Come in.
Hello, Cain.
Why, Marshal Dillon. Come in.
Thank you.
What can I do for you, Marshal?
I thought you were leaving Dodge on the stage this morning.
Well, I was, Marshal, but I changed my mind. You know how it is.
Sure, Cain, sure. Now, we're glad to have you around. I'm just curious, though. Your staying have anything to do with that gun you bought this morning?
Oh, Chester told you. I thought he would. He's a good teacher, Marshal.
Yeah. But that doesn't answer my question.
Do I have to answer it?
I'm just trying to help you, that's all.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Marshal, but I'm afraid there's nothing you can do.
Look, Cain, you're new in this country. A man like you just can't pick up a 6-gun and call himself a fighting man. Not and expect to live through it.
I certainly lay no claim to be a fighting man.
Then why did you buy that gun?
There's no law out here against a man having a gun, is there, Marshal?
No, but any man who carries one is expected to use it when the time comes. You'd be a lot safer without one.
Being safe doesn't mean a whole lot to me, Marshal. Not now.
Yeah, I know. Doc told me. What's it all about?
It's a long story. And an old one, I suppose. I'd really rather not talk about it.
I can't force you to. But tell me this. Does it have anything to do with Joel Adams?
Yes, it does, Marshal. I'm going to kill him.
When?
I don't know. Anytime.
Well, why?
That's the long story I mentioned.
All right, Cain. But if you try to face him, he'll kill you before you got that gun halfway out of your belt. And if you shoot him any other way, you'll hang for it.
You've forgotten something, Marshal.
What?
No matter what I do, I'm going to die soon anyway. A month or two isn't going to make any difference.
You hate Adams that much?
I wouldn't kill a man I didn't hate, would I?
I didn't think you were the sort of man who'd kill anyone.
Only Joel Adams, Marshal.
Then I gotta warn him about you.
Well, I understand, Marshal. It's all right. He doesn't know me anyway. Never even saw me before.
But you want to kill him?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll take your gun away from you, but you'll just find another one. And I can't arrest you unless I catch you trying to bushwhack him.
I'm sorry for the trouble I'm causing you, Marshal.
You know, I've never had to deal with a man like you before, Cain. Maybe I ought to just tie you up and throw you on that stage.
You could. But I'd just come right back.
Yeah, I guess you would.
I'm sorry this has to happen here in Dodge, Marshal.
Then why don't you leave?
I guess I hate Joel Adams too much.
All right, Cain, I'm through trying to convince you. So long.
Goodbye, Marshal.
Cain Vestal, Marshal. I never saw him before last night.
You must have known him somewhere, Adams.
You're trying to make me out a liar, Marshal.
I'm trying to save Cain's life and yours, maybe.
Oh, he ain't gonna shoot me. I'll kill him first time he looks sidewise.
Maybe you won't see him.
Oh, shoot me in the back, eh? Well, in that case...
In that case, what?
Why, nothing, Dillon, nothing. Forget it.
If Cain's shot in the back, you'll be the first man I'd take in, Adams.
I don't even know him. Why should I shoot him?
I'm only warning you.
Well, just leave me be, Marshal. I can take care of myself.
See that you do, Adams, and only yourself.
Why, sure, Marshal. Only I don't much like the idea of some stranger gunning for me. Makes me sort of uneasy.
There must be some reason for it.
Don't start it again, Marshal. Ain't no reason.
I know. You've led a blameless life. You never hurt anyone.
I
did you,
told
Adams?
you twice.
There are
now,
men around here who'd shoot you on sight if they thought they could get by with it. I don't think you were ever any good, Adams, so don't tell me Cain's got no reason. I don't believe it.
You're pushing me now,
I'm
Marshal.
tired of your talk, that's all. Maybe it's true you don't know him, but he sure knows something about you.
Well, then he'll wish you didn't. That's all I got to say.
Well, just keep out of his way. Give it a little time, and maybe there won't be any killing at all.
Why, sure. All the time in the world.
All right, Adams. I've done all I can.
Just don't worry about me.
I'm not.
Then goodbye, Marshal.
Goodbye.
Quiet around town tonight, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. There's a trail herd due in a couple of days. I suppose business will pick up then.
You'd think those cowboys be too tuckered out after a ride like that to have any juice left in them at all, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, they're too poor to cut loose any other time.
Well, that don't stop them down in Texas, Mr. Dillon.
No?
No. It's just like an uncle of mine back in Waco. He was poor, oh, he was mean poor. But he always said the only good money was to have fun with.
Well, did he have fun?
But no, sir. He was too poor, like I said.
All right, Chester, all right. All I ask is that you don't try to explain it to me.
Well, but there's nothing to explain, Mr. Dillon. It's just that he was the one poorest man you'd ever...
Marshal, say, you want to talk to Cain Vestal?
What?
Cain is upstairs in my office.
He been shot?
No, not shot. Beat up.
Well, how is he, Doc?
Well, he's not too bad. A couple of cowboys found him just outside of town. They heard a shot and said 2 men rode off before they could stop them.
Yeah?
And I guess whoever it was, they didn't have time to finish the job. They just got started working on him.
So Adams made the first move, huh? I'll be back soon, Chester.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon.
They hit him on the head with a gun butt. Scratched him up some. Outside of that, he's fine.
It's still assault, even if they didn't kill him, Doc.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Anyway, they took a shot at him when they heard those riders coming along. Went right through his coat.
Yeah. They probably think he's dead.
So that's where you went, Doc. I might have known.
Didn't even give you a chance to use that gun, did he, Cain?
I didn't have a gun on me, Marshal, but it wasn't he. It was they.
Huh? Did you recognize them?
Well, I don't know many people around here.
You know Joel Adams, so you told me.
It wasn't Adam.
Could you pick him out if you saw him again?
No, Marshal, I don't believe I could.
Where were you when they grabbed you, Cain?
End of Front Street. I was taking a walk after supper. They rode up behind me, one on each side, lifted me up, and carried me out of town a ways.
You must have got a good look at them, at least when they got off their horses.
It was too dark, Marshal.
Yeah. Doc, how long has he been here?
Oh, about half an hour, Marshal. Why?
Those cowboys who saw you, Cain, they brought you right in here, didn't they?
Yes.
So it was maybe an hour ago when those 2 men hauled you out of town? It was plenty light enough then.
Was it, Marshal?
You're gonna fight it yourself, aren't you?
Yes, Marshal. It's my affair.
It was, Cain, but you've been assaulted and shot at, so it's the law's business now.
I won't prefer any charges, Marshal.
You don't have to. I've seen you, and I know who did it, or who hired it done, as well as you do.
Please, Marshal. I got to handle this my own way.
There's a law that says you can't murder a man, Cain, and the same law says he can't murder you. Are you so full of hate you can't get that through your head?
I guess that's it, Marshal.
All right, Cain. You do what you have to do. So will I. Hello, Adams. I've been looking for you.
That's late, Dillon. Can't you see me tomorrow?
It's not even midnight. That's early for you.
You see how this marshal's always trying to get me on the prod, boys?
These boys of yours play pretty rough themselves, Adams.
Meaning?
Didn't they tell you
Tell me what?
what they did to Cain Vestal?
They did not kill Cain Vestal, and you can't prove it.
No, Adams, I can't. Cain isn't even dead.
What?
You know, I'm curious, Adams. Why'd you think he might be?
Why, somebody said he got himself hurt.
Joel Adams.
You arranged this, Marshal.
You know I didn't.
Who is he? What does he want?
Hello, Joel Adams. Don't strain yourself so you don't know me.
Who are you?
Cain Vestal. But my name doesn't matter.
What are you haunting me for? I never saw you before in my life.
That's true. You didn't. But we had a friend in common once.
A friend? Who?
Julie Travis.
What about Julie?
You were a riverboat gambler then, Adams, and you had money and fine clothes and a way with women, especially young girls. Julie was only 16 at the time.
Never mind all that.
So she went away with you to be married, you told her.
Oh. I think I guessed the rest. You wanted to marry her, but I got her instead. Is that it?
That's it, Adams. That's exactly it.
Oh, now I thought you really had something on your mind, Vestal. Well, all right, why don't you get out of here and quit bothering people while you can still walk?
Julie killed herself, Adams. She committed suicide.
What?
You didn't know that, did you?
Well, it's got nothing to do with me.
Because you never married her after all. It was just a year after you abandoned her in New Orleans. I think it has a lot to do with you, Joel Adams.
What are your plans, mister? I see you got a gun in your belt.
Gonna kill you.
Oh, so? When?
Now. Right now.
All right, Vestal, draw.
Leave the gun where it is, Cain.
One thing I always promised myself, Adams. Someday I'd spit in your face.
Why, you...
Give me the gun, Adams.
There.
He's dead.
Well, he was going to kill me. You heard him.
He wanted you dead, Adams, any way he could manage.
I know it. That's what I say.
You're under arrest for murder.
What? It was a gunfight.
Cain never even moved for his gun.
Well, then I'll hang for this. He couldn't have got me any other way.
No, don't suppose he could have.
I remember the river gamblers used to say, don't matter how you win so long as you win. That Cain should have been a gambler.
Maybe he was. Come on, let's go. Morning, Miss Ida Mae.
Hiya, Marshal.
Good morning, John.
Hey, Matt. Wait a second.
What? Oh, hiya, Doc.
Oh, on my way over to jail. After you.
Oh?
You heard about the Longhorn?
No, what about it?
You haven't heard, or you wouldn't ask.
Well, heard what, Doc?
Well, I'll walk along with you if you're heading that way.
Well, as a matter of fact, I was heading that way. Hey, what's all that crowd out in front there for?
In due time, Matt. In due time.
You know, Doc, there's only one thing that makes you happier than having a secret, and that's to collect your coroner's fee.
Might get a fee out of this, too, for it's over.
No wonder you're all worked up.
Hey, have you heard about the Longhorn? It's the doggone thing. Your Longhorn, the doggone thing I ever come across.
Morning, Mr. Dillon.
Hiya, Chester.
Say, you heard about the Longhorn?
No, Chester, I have not heard about the Longhorn.
What?
He's upset, Chester. He's the only man in Dodge who hasn't heard.
Look, so help me, Doc, if this is one of your practical jokes.
No. I had nothing to do with it. You'll see.
Will you pardon me, ma'am?
Let him through.
Pardon me, please.
Let me through,
Excuse me.
please.
Well, Mr. Dillon?
What do you think of it, Matt? Aside from the misspelled words.
The Longhorn been closed all morning?
Yep, locked tight. That sign was on the door daylight.
The Longhorn Saloon will open at 8 o'clock tonight with new management and a new policy. Everybody welcome. Signed the new manager, Mamie.
Mamie? That's a woman, Matt.
Lately of Kansas City, St. Louis, and points east.
Well, I don't know, Mr. Dillon. We never had a woman running a saloon in Dodge City before.
And we won't now, Chester. The boys won't let her last an hour, I'm afraid.
Be kind of fun for that hour, though.
And another thing, if this Mamie is the new manager, what's happened to Herman Bleecker?
Well, I don't know. He must have sold it to her.
He didn't say anything about it yesterday morning.
That's right. I saw him over at the livery stable in the afternoon showing off one of them fancy vests he's always ordering. And he never said one word about it.
Well, you know that little Popinjay. He's flighty. Probably happened sudden.
Too sudden, Doc. Even for Herman.
Say, come think of it, I haven't seen him all morning. And he's usually strutting up and down Front Street, preening himself like a powder pigeon.
Yeah, he's probably upstairs there, sleeping in, getting ready for the opening tonight.
We gonna be here, Mr. Dillon?
Mamie.
Mr. Dillon?
Huh? Oh, yeah, Chester. We're gonna be here.
I'm sorry, boys, but she's upstairs. Said she'd be down about 8 o'clock, and that's all I know about it. Now, if you want to order anything, let's hear it. And if you don't, just shut up.
Say, the boys are acting kind of rambunctious, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, she'll wish she stayed in St. Louis and points east.
Say, Matt, I was talking to the bartender. I asked him what she looks like, and he said if he told me, I wouldn't believe it.
Now, the fella I'd like to talk to is Herman Bleecker.
Yeah, well, nobody's seen hiding here him. You know, Matt, I'm beginning to wonder, too.
Howdy, strangers.
Huh?
Welcome to the Longhorn. I'm Mamie, the new owner.
Mamie? She said.
My gracious sakes alive.
190 pounds if she weighs an ounce.
The bartender was right. I wouldn't have believed it.
Boys, it looks like we're going to be doing business together, so let's get things straight right in the beginning. Now, in the first place, the minute you stick your foot inside that door, you're on my stomping ground. I'm the boss of this shebang, and don't you ever forget it. When I tell anybody to hop, he hops. Is that clear? Now, tell you what, I aim to give the squarest deal in town. All the liquor here is going to be aged over 30 days, and the dancing girls aged under 30 years. The liquor is straight, and the girls are graceful. There's only 4 aces in every deck, and the cards only read from the front side. You'll get a fair shake for your money, but there ain't going to be no fandangling. And another thing, mister! I'm talking.
Well, so am I, you old battle axe.
Excuse me, boys.
Oh, looks like it started, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, wait a second.
He paid for his drink?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you wall-eyed little maverick. Come on! Throw his head out after him. Now, as I was saying, boys, I just won't stand for no fandangling. Now, maybe some of you figured I was wearing this six-shooter for a decoration. When I just cast your eyes on that ace of spades I got tacked up on the back wall. Now!
What did you see? For the land's sakes, did you see that draw, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, and she got the card, too.
Oh, the boys won't give her no trouble, man.
All right, boys, the first one's on the house. And it's the last free one you'll get. And the only credit I give is for funeral expenses. Belly up, boys!
Well, sir, Mr. Dillon?
Chester, I want to talk to Herman Bleecker more than ever.
Say, you know, she's big enough to... well, I'll bet she forced Herman to sell.
Yeah, maybe. Doc, I'll be right back. I want to talk to her.
Oh, that you was nothing, boys. Oh, you're the marshal, huh?
Yeah, that's right, ma'am. My name's Dillon.
Proud to shake your hand, Mr. Dillon.
Well, thank you, Miss Mamie. Welcome to Dodge City.
Mighty decent of you to express the sentiment, Marshal. I reckon you won't get much business around the Longhorn. I'll take care of any trouble that's around here.
It'd be quite a change. The boys used to push Bleecker around every now and then.
Oh, that runty little prairie dog.
I didn't know he was planning to sell, Miss Mamie. He must have made up his mind in a hurry.
Yeah? I made him an offer, and he took it. Just like that.
He found himself some new living quarters, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. He moved right out last night.
Oh. Mm-hmm. I wonder where he's holed up.
Huh?
There are a couple of things I'd like to see him about.
Well, now, I'll tell you, I'm afraid he left town, Mr. Dillon. I think he said something about taking the Santa Fe to St. Louis, now that I remember.
Oh, I see. Well, that's too bad. I'd sure like to have seen him. Well, I'll probably drop in now and then, Miss Mamie.
Sure. Anytime, Marshal. For you, it's on the house.
Thank you.
What'd you find out, Mr. Dillon?
Let's get out of here, Chester. Coming, Doc.
Sure. Oh, yes, with both ears a-flapping.
Well, boys, what do you think of her?
Oh, my gracious, Mr. Dillon, I sure would hate to meet her in the dark.
Oh, why, she's got a voice like a buffalo.
Ain't it awful? It just itches your ears, don't it?
Why, the woman's a human monstrosity.
I still haven't seen Herman.
What'd she say, man?
She says she thinks he left town.
Oh, she
Chester, I want you to check all the rooming houses and hotels along Front Street. I'm going to go to the railroad station and the stage lines. I'll meet you over at the jail. Huh?
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon.
Say, Matt, I think Herman keeps a horse over at the livery stable.
Yeah, I thought of that, Doc. I wonder, would you be good enough to look into that for me?
Why, sure, be happy to.
You know, Mr. Dillon, she is an awful straight shot.
Yeah, Chester. I know.
You here, Matt?
Oh, yeah, come on in, Doc.
Well, his horse is still over at the stable. He didn't tell them anything about leaving.
He didn't leave, Doc. Mamie came in on the 9 o'clock train last night. Only one train out after that, around midnight. He wasn't on it. And he didn't buy a ticket on the stage either.
Yes, see, now what did I tell you? Matt, that settles it.
Yeah, of course, he may have moved into one of the hotels.
No, sir, Mr. Dillon, I'm afraid he didn't.
Oh, well, what'd you find out, Chester?
That nobody in this town has seen Herman Bleecker since around 9 o'clock last night.
Matt, I knew I'd get me a fee out of this, one way or the other.
Well, don't spend it yet, Doc. What?
Buenos noches, señores.
Oh, Manuel. Come on in. Come on in.
Gracias, señor Dillon.
Well, what's on your mind?
Pues, señor, I was at the railroad depot when I hear you ask about the little one, el señor Bleecker.
No?
And the other, the señora. Oh, there is much woman on that one.
Well, there's no argument there, Manuel.
Señor, last night I have seen something which is strange.
No?
I am come home very late, 1 hour, 2 hours before dawn. I was visit a friend, you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
You see, I am walk home in much hurry, and it is very dark, señor. When at once I see this lantern in the arroyo behind the Longhorn Cantina.
Oh, a lantern, you say?
I am think, what is this? So I wait, and this lantern is come toward me. And when it is close, oh, this woman who I have no see one like her. Oh, what a scare.
Well, what was she doing in the arroyo?
I do not know, but is one thing I forget. She is carry something in her hand.
Well, what was it, Manuel?
A shovel, senor.
Find anything, Matt?
Well, there's something here, Doc, but I can't quite... Hold the lantern over here, will you, Chester?
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon.
I found something here, if I can just get it loose.
Lantern all right, Mr. Dillon? Can you see what it is?
Yeah, it's fine, Chester. Yeah, I got it.
Oh.
It's a boot. Yeah, here's the other one.
Yeah. All that fancy stitching. Matt, those are his. I've seen them on him.
Yeah, so have I, Doc. Yesterday, in fact. Here, take him, Chester.
Yes, sir.
There's a bundle of some kind here.
Oh, you found the body, huh?
No, it's clothes, I think, Doc. Let's have a look. Yeah. That's all there is, too. The hole doesn't go any deeper. It's hard pan on the bottom there. Hold the lantern down, Chester. Let me get this unwrapped.
I'm not so sure about that coat, Mr. Dillon. A lot of them like that around town.
Yeah, I know, but take a look at this fancy vest.
Oh, that's Herman's. Nobody else in Dodge City'd ever wear a thing like that.
Well, from the looks of it, he won't be wearing it again. How you coming, Doc?
Now, don't rush me, Matt. Don't rush me. I haven't made one of these blood tests in years. If you ask me, I don't see any use in making one now. Well, let me see. Pour the precipitate into here. What other kind of blood could it be except human?
Doc, I only want to be sure, that's all.
All right. Let me see. 5 drops of the sulfate. You sure look uncomfortable, Matt.
Well, how would you like to try arresting that lady, Doc?
Not my job to arrest her. All I'm doing is stopping up these loopholes Matt's trying to wiggle out of.
Well, that's real decent of you, Doc, real decent.
No, sir, Matt, I don't recall you ever being in such a predicament. Oh, of course, I remember the night you shot it out with the Barkley boys over in the Alafraganza. There were 3 of them, and you did not turn a hair. And then that other time when you got dry gulched by the Platte River gang.
All right, Doc, all right. But this is different. If I go to arrest that woman, she's just crazy enough to start a gunfight.
Oh, it's a problem. It's a problem, all right. Now, let's see. We'll just shake this up and warm it a bit.
You know, there is one thing, though, Mr. Dillon. Shooting at a mark's not the same as a gunfight. Maybe she wouldn't even resist.
You really believe that, Chester?
No, sir. Oh, she ain't a woman. She's a human catastrophe.
She sure is for Matt.
Well, there's still a chance we may be going off half-cocked here. That blood could have got on Herman's vest a dozen different ways.
We'll soon see. Let's see now. A couple of drops of reagent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, now. And we'll look for the color change. So, turn up the lamp a little bit, will you, Chester, please?
All right, Doc.
Oh. Wow. Yes,
Well, Doc?
well, it's tough luck, Matt. It's human blood. Hey, Matt, I thought we was going over to the Longhorn to talk to Mamie. How come the jail?
She'll keep, Doc. She's not going anywhere.
Looks cut and dried to me, Matt.
It might not if you were in my shoes. Come on in, boys.
You know, Mr. Dillon, when I talked to the barkeep, Finnegan, he said that when he showed up this morning to open the saloon, that woman was already inside waiting for him. She told him to come back at 8 o'clock tonight. And he didn't see no sign of Herman Bleeker.
Oh, well, there's another nail in your coffin, Matt.
Doc, if you keep this up, I'm going to deputize you and take you along with me.
He sure can have my job, Mr. Dillon.
No, you don't. I will not lift a hand in anger against a woman, especially that woman.
Keep thinking we could still be wrong.
Oh,
somehow.
real diehard.
Look, now, suppose Herman hurt himself some way.
How?
And he wanted to get away by himself and recuperate.
Where?
And suppose he didn't want anybody to know about it.
Why?
So he decided to stay with some friend.
Who?
And, well, maybe... come on, Chester, let's go. There she is at the end of the bar.
What are you going to do, Mr. Dillon?
Take her in, Chester. Maybe she'll talk when she's arrested. I gotta get that gun away from her some way.
It's not going to be easy.
And it's gotta be done. I've never drawn a gun on a woman yet, and I'm not starting now. If I could just manage to... I don't know. There might be a chance. Stick close to me, Chester.
Yes, Mr. Dillon.
Well, Marshal, mighty glad you dropped back in.
I was just wondering how you were getting along, Miss May.
Like a kid with two tongues and an all-day sucker. Say, now tell me, did you find that little weasel Herman Bleecker?
I thought you told me he'd left town.
Oh, well, I was just guessing, Mr. Dillon. He said something about planning to. Here, step up and have a shot of poison.
No, thank you. As a matter of fact, I came back here for a particular purpose. Chester and I have a little bet on.
Mr. Dillon,
What kind of a bet is it, Marshal?
Well, it was about that shooting trick of yours, hitting the center of that playing card, you know. Chester figures that it was a fluke of luck. He's betting me that you can't do it 5 times in a row.
Well, we'll soon settle that. The card's still up there. Stand aside, boys! Mamie's gonna limber up her shooting irons and get out of the way. Get down there, Curly. All right. There's one. Couple of them.
You're doing fine so far.
How you doing down there, boys?
All dead center so far.
Say, you there, whatever your name is, what do you think of your bet now?
Well, I guess I just kind of lost my head, Miss Mamie.
Well, 3 down, 2 to go. There's 4. And 1 more. Oh, yeah.
Well, what are you stopping now for, maybe?
Well, I got some rules I go by, Marshal. One of them's never to fire my last shot and leave my gun empty.
Yeah, I see. Well, that's a pretty good idea, I guess.
Sorry to lose your bet for you, Marshal.
I'm convinced. Well, I guess that didn't quite...
Chester. Miss Mamie, I guess you're not a gambler yourself, huh?
Who says so? I'll take a fair bet at even odds any day of the week and twice in Philadelphia.
Well, in that case, I'll make you one. I got a pretty fair gun here. Or at least I thought so till I saw yours in action.
Well, I'd say yours every bit as good as mine.
Well, then how about a bet? Your gun against mine on the 1-cut high card, huh?
Well, now, how? I didn't...
Of course, it's all right with me if you'd rather back out on it.
Who's backing out? You got yourself a bet, Mr. Dillon. Finnegan, shuffle us a deck.
Okay, Miss Mamie.
It's a better a fight. Mamie never backs out.
There you are, Miss Mamie.
Now, who goes first, Mr. Dillon?
What? Ladies, always.
All right. If you're a friend, Lester will cut him for us once.
It's Chester.
Never
Yes,
mind.
Chester,
Cut the cards.
Yes, sir. Ma'am.
Now, let's see what we've got.
Jack of spades. That's not bad.
Plenty good, Marshal. Plenty good enough to beat anything you can...
King of diamonds.
All right. I'm beat. Fair and square. You won yourself a gun.
Thank you. Here, Chester, will you take it?
Yes, sir.
And now the handcuffs.
Here, now!
Maybe you're under arrest.
Why, you, of all the sidewinds and double-crossing backhanded...
Mamie! Now, you're going to stay fastened to me until I get you in a cell, so you might as well make the best of it.
Why, you...
And as far as that's concerned, you'll be safer in jail than out of it once word gets around. People here in Dodge City thought a lot of Herman Bleecker.
That little sawed-off groundhog...
That's no excuse for killing him in cold blood.
What?
You heard him, Mamie. You killed me.
Bleecker!
This is a
Biggest night of my whole life. To hear somebody finally shut Mamie up and make her like it.
The marshal's a gentleman, you little weasel. He knows how to talk to a lady.
And to hear you say how much the town thinks of me, Mr. Dillon.
What's this all about, Herman?
Well,
I'll tell you what it's all about. Yes. This little grub worm ran out on me in Cincinnati 3 years ago. Like to broke my heart. I've been hunting him ever since, and last night I found him. I wailed the living daylights out of him.
Yeah, he looks like it. But why did you bury his clothes?
Mr. Dillon, would you want to be married to a man that dressed like that?
She pretty near murdered me, though, Mr. Dillon. I've been up there in bed all day, just too bruised and embarrassed to hobble downstairs.
Oh, we had our ups and downs, Marshal, me and Herman. You know how it is.
Yeah. Chester, give me the keys to the handcuffs, will you?
Yes, sir. I got them right here in... Well, I guess they're over in the...
What's the matter, Chester?
Oh, Mr. Dillon, when we were digging out there, guess I must have lost him.
Chester, can't you file that thing any faster?
You might just well relax, Mr. Dillon. Took a half hour to get that one off Miss Mamie's wrist.
Oh, no. All right, but just hurry.
I'm filing as fast as I can.
What? Doc.
Mamie gave me this bottle of Irish here to make the waiting a little easier. And it's Jameson's.
Oh, well, fine, Doc, fine. Chester, let that go for a minute, huh? And open it up.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon.
Can you imagine it, boys? Little Herman Bleecker married for years to a woman like that.
I don't want to imagine. Oh, I'd get nightmares.
Here you go, Mr. Dillon.
Oh, thank you, Chester.
Doc?
Oh, thank you.
Well, gentlemen, here's to the weaker sex.
Mr. Dillon, which one is that?
Well, what's the rush, Miss Kitty?
Come on, sit down and have a beer with us, Kitty.
I'd love to, Matt, but I just stepped out for some thread. I got to get back to work.
Some thread? That sounds pretty domestic for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's an occasion. I'm making a wedding dress.
What?
Oh, no, Miss Kitty, not you. Oh, my, no.
Well, it isn't for me, Chester. Worse luck. It's for artist Nash. It's going to be beautiful. If I say so myself.
Well, if I ever need a wedding dress made, I'll sure come to you for it.
Well, I'll be here, Matt. Let me know. See you later, boys.
So long, Kitty.
She's a fine girl, Mr. Dillon.
Kitty? Oh, yeah, she's great. She's...
Well, look who's back in town, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, Frank Craig.
Hello, Marshal.
Frank, I never expected you to come back. I don't know what to say to you.
You might say welcome home.
Yeah, I might.
At least you're honest, Marshal.
Sure. Where have you been for the last year?
Out west. Wyoming, to be exact.
And my sympathy for the peace officers of Wyoming.
Man can change, Marshal. Grow up and get over his wildness and start to think about settling down.
Some men can.
Well, I'm one of them. I don't aim to cause any trouble, Marshal. Came back here to marry Artis and take her with me, that's all.
You heard from her since you left?
She's pretty as ever.
She'll pass.
Every man in Dodge was crazy about her. She was my girl from start to finish.
Things can change, Frank.
She's still my girl, Marshal.
Ben Martin might differ with you.
Ben Martin?
Mm-hmm.
That bull-necked plowboy? He never had a chance in...
What are you saying, Marshal?
You don't aim to cause any trouble, you say, and yet you just happened to roll into town 3 days before Artis is due to marry Ben. You claiming you didn't know about it, huh?
Artis wrote me a farewell letter, Marshal. It doesn't make any difference. Like I said, she's still my girl. She's not marrying Ben or anybody else. Not while I'm alive.
Like I said, Frank, Ben may differ with you.
I used to chase him home crying when we were kids.
I don't think he'll chase that easy now. Ben took over the Circle Bar B. He's got 25 boys riding for him. He's a big man around here. Swings a lot of weight.
Marshal, I said I wasn't looking for trouble, and I meant it. I came back here to get Artis, that's all. If any man tries to stop me, I'll kill him. I'll see you, Marshal.
Chester, see if you can find Ben Martin. Have him meet me over at the jail office.
I thought he was 1,000 miles away, Marshal. I didn't think he'd ever have the nerve to come back.
Well, Ben, the two of you are bound to run into each other, so I figured you'd better know about it.
What's he expect, Marshal? Artis forgot him a week after he left town. Does he expect to force himself on her?
Maybe, you know, Frank.
For my money, he's a crazy, half-wild saddle bum who should have been hung 5 years ago.
He says he's settled down, though, Ben.
He's not going to settle down here.
Look, Ben, I don't like killings. Now, hang on to that temper of yours.
Sure. I'll hang on to it, Marshal, just as long as Frank Craig stays clear of me and stays away from my girl. Otherwise, I tell you right now, Marshal,
Is that you?
Artis. We're in here, honey. Come on in.
Someone said you were here at the jail. Evening, Mr. Dillon.
Miss Nash?
I'm sorry if I interrupted anything, but... Ben, you know who's in town?
Yeah, Frank Craig. That's what we were talking about, honey.
He says he's come back for me. Take me away with him.
What do you mean he says, Miss Nash?
He came to the house a while ago. He knew about Ben and me, that we were going to be married. But he came anyway. I sent him away.
That does it,
All right,
Marshal.
hold it, Ben. Now, there's no harm in him just talking to her.
A man's got a right to protect what's his, Marshal.
Protection's my business, Ben, and as long as I'm Marshal here, it'll keep on being my business. Now, in 3 days, you got a wedding coming up. I'd hate to see it ruined by a killing.
Well, I have nothing against Frank Craig, Mr. Dillon. I wouldn't want him killed.
Neither would I. Oh, good night, Miss Nash. Ben.
All right.
Think it over, Ben. Don't lose your head.
Yeah, sure, Marshal. I'll think it over.
How long are we going to have to keep on riding herd on Frank Craig, Mr. Dillon?
Oh, just till he and Ben meet face to face and have their say, I guess.
My, that Frank Craig sure is a fancy dresser. Silver spurs, red silk handkerchief, yellow boots.
Well, now, here's the marshal, right on the job.
Hiya, Doc.
Well, Matt, I hear we got ourselves a nice little killing coming up.
You hope we have, you mean?
Oh, no, it's not the fee. It's the romance of the thing.
Yeah, sure.
Young man comes back in the West to see his girl, finds she's on the point of marrying somebody
Chester.
else.
Watch me for the play and keep me covered, huh?
I don't know what you mean.
Over there.
Oh.
Ben Martin and 2 of his boys, they just came in. I'm going to go over to the bar next to Craig. Now keep your head up.
Yes, Mr. Dillon. You better give me some room, Doc.
Well, how are you, Frank?
Yeah, I saw him come in, too. You've been standing over there watching me for 2 hours. And now you come up and speak. I fight my own battles, Marshal.
Frank, the way I'm playing it, there's not going to be a battle. Well, Ben, it's nice to see you.
Marshal, I'd rather you weren't here. I guess you know that.
Yeah, sure, I know that.
Don't worry, Ben. Dillon's neutral. That still gives you 3-to-1 odds. What more do you want?
Frank, we don't need you in this town. You were gone for a year, and we got along fine. So if you climb on that horse of yours and ride out again, we'll still get along fine.
My girl won't, Ben.
You haven't got a girl in Dodge City, Frank.
Well, sure I have. And I want to thank you for looking out for her while I was away.
As far as she's concerned, you're still away. I might as well warn you, there are a couple of my boys on guard at her house armed with rifles.
Ben, I never needed a guard to hold her.
If you come within 50 yards, they got orders to kill you. You'll be there from now until the wedding.
Oh, yeah. That wedding. I'm afraid that's been called off, Ben. You see, Artis and I have other plans. We got a wedding of our own coming up.
Well, you dirty
darn! Now, if either one of you draws, he's drawn against me.
I wouldn't draw on him, Marshal. I feel kind of sorry for him.
So help me,
Shut up,
Marshal,
both of you.
I'm gonna...
Now, you both had your say. And each knows how the other one stands. Well, here's my stand. If Ben wants to keep a guard at her house, it's all right with me. You've had a fair warning, Frank, so stay away.
I wish he would try to bother her.
And on the other hand, Ben, Frank's got as much right to the run of the town as you or me or anybody else.
Sure, as long as decent citizens hide their valuables.
You can't go by rumors, Ben. Nobody ever proved a case against him, you know that.
Piece of stout rope would prove
I wouldn't try it, Ben. If you and your boys want a drink now, go on over to the Longhorn. Stay out of the Texas Trail here from now on. You, Frank, stay clear of the Longhorn.
You're quite an optimist, Marshal.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, are you leaving, Ben?
Yeah. I'll be seeing you, Frank. Come on, boy.
Frank, you got nothing to gain here and everything to lose. Miss Nash has made a choice, and whatever was between you once is water down the river. Why don't you pull out?
Because she's still my girl, Matt. I know, and she knows, too. You wait and see.
Your move, Matt.
Yeah, let's see now. If I move there, you'll move there. Jump with my king, block the whole corner. No. But if I move here...
Oh,
no.
Mr. Dillon, you can move.
No, you don't, Chester. No, you don't. I'm playing Matt. Not the both of you.
Well, Chester and I kind of run together, Doc.
Enforcing the law, that's fine. Playing checkers, no. Matt, it's still your move.
Yeah, I know. All right. There.
Oh, well, I'll be...
That's the move I was going to tell you to make, Mr. Dillon.
Thanks, Chester.
Oh,
Doc, your beat. Let's call a game.
yeah, you sneaked up on me. That's what you did. You snuck up on me. Oh, well, that's all right, then.
It sure is a quiet night. I figured one of them two would make a play before this.
Yeah. Well, if we can get past noon tomorrow with Ben and Artis married... Well, even Craig ought to know when he's beaten.
I don't know, Matt. He never did when he was here before.
Well, then he better learn. Trying to get a girl to change her mind is one thing. Bothering a married woman's another.
You know, Mr. Dillon, it seems to me Miss Artis Nash is the one that could put a stop to all this. If she'd just speak her mind out plain...
Matt!
There was...
Huh?
Oh,
Kitty.
now what's the matter?
Kitty, what's
Matt,
the...
they want you over at the express office right away. You too, Doc.
Oh, what's wrong?
Hold up, Matt. Somebody shot the clerk. He's dying.
Will you let me through here, please?
I'm
sorry, mister. One side, please.
Yes, one side, please.
All right, stand back now. Give us some room here. Can you get through, Doc?
Yeah, Matt, I can get it. Yeah, stand back.
Chester, will you move him back? Make him stand back.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon.
Yes, let me have a look now. Just let me have a look.
How does it look, Doc?
Well, there's a lot of bleeding, Matt. I don't know. I'll do what I can.
Mr. Dillon.
Easy now, fella. You're going to be all right.
It was one man, Mr. Dillon, wearing a mask over his face. Red silk handkerchief.
A red silk handkerchief.
Oh, Frank Craig's the only man in town.
Yeah. I know.
Pretty late, Mr. Dillon. Maybe he's not going to come back here.
His bedroll's here, Chester. All his belongings. Man doesn't leave his stuff in a rooming house unless he's planning to come back to it.
He might have got the wind up after he shot that clerk. Maybe he just hit the saddle and lit out.
No, not Frank. There's one thing about him. I've never seen him scared. He'll be here. Sooner or later.
I can't figure him, Mr. Dillon. He must have needed the money awful bad.
Yeah, I guess so.
My, this hiding out in the dark gets on a man's nerves, don't it?
Yeah, it sure does. It'd help some if we could just smoke. I don't suppose...
Shh. Somebody's coming, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, I hear him. That's him, all right. Now watch it, Chester. All right, hold it, Frank, and don't move. It's Matt Dillon.
Thought it might be somebody else.
Light the lamp, Chester.
Yes, Mr. Dillon.
Frank, I understand you left the Texas Trail right after dark. Nobody's seen you since. Where you been?
Just friendly conversation, Marshal, or is this official?
It's official.
Then I guess I won't answer that.
I see you're still wearing that red silk handkerchief.
Any reason why I shouldn't be? Marshal, what's it all about?
Murder? If that express clerk dies?
I asked you, what's it all about?
Where's the money, Frank?
The way I seem to get it, somebody held up the express office and shot the clerk. You're accusing me. I didn't do it, Marshal.
Where you been?
Sorry, Marshal.
You're under arrest, Frank.
No, I'm afraid not. See, that would ruin all my plans.
You better lay your gun on the table over there.
I'm sorry, Marshal.
Some other time. Look out for the lamp! Grab him, Chester. Don't shoot, but grab him.
Oh, he went through the window, Mr. Dillon.
Never mind, Chester. Grab a blanket. Let's get this fire out before it burns the whole place down. Come on.
Matt, don't look so sour. In an hour, it'll all be over.
Kitty, I'd be a lot surer of that if I had Frank Craig locked up in jail.
No trace of him, huh?
Not a sign.
Then forget about him, Matt. He could be halfway to Wyoming by now.
And I wish I could think so.
I wonder what artist Nash is thinking about him.
What business has she got thinking about him when she's going to marry Ben in an hour?
I'm afraid you'll just never understand women.
Well, who does? Frank Craig's a born drifter. He'll never settle down. He's wild as a range colt. Never been broken, never will be. And sooner or later, he'll come home tight across his saddle. How any girl can get herself interested in a man like that beats me.
Not me, Matt. I know exactly how
girl can get herself interested in a man like that.
What?
I'll see you at the wedding. I got to help artist finish dressing.
Morning, Miss Kitty.
Morning, Doc.
Hey, good morning, Matt. You working up your courage?
What for, Doc? I'm not getting married. How's the express clerk?
Oh, he's bad. He's getting worse. I don't think he's going to make it. What about Frank Craig?
Nothing, not a sign. I think he's still around town somewhere, but we
Morning,
can't
Mr.
find
Dillon.
Well,
Doc?
Doc, look at that.
Well, look, it's an alpaca coat, a boiled shirt, green galluses, and a pink silk tie. Oh, well, Chester, I haven't seen a get-up like that since I hauled out of Boston.
Well, I figured it was only due respect to the bride.
Where's your gun, Chester?
Oh, goodness gracious, Mr. Dillon, you can't wear a gun to a wedding.
Well, at this wedding, even the bridegroom's wearing a gun, Chester. I'm wearing one, and so are you, so you better go get it. Meet me at the church.
Mr. Dillon, she is so pretty, I wish I was marrying her myself.
You better forget it, Chester. Ben's got enough worries as it is.
He sure does look fidgety, all right.
Yeah, he's got reason to.
Room for me here, Matt?
Oh, yeah, sure, Kitty. Here, slide right in here.
Yeah.
Here we are.
My dearly beloved friends and neighbors, it is the privilege of all of us to be gathered here together in the sight of the Lord and in the presence of one another for the purpose of uniting this man and this woman in the bonds of holy matrimony.
It won't be long now, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, the sooner the better.
Barbara Hardis Nash and Benjamin Martin. There is, I am sure, no need to emphasize the solemn and sacred nature of the great institution into which they are about to enter.
I never heard all of this before.
You still want to marry her, Chester?
Wicked world, beyond and above the decay and corruption of the flesh and the devil. Your manifest presence as you come here together and forsaking all others, stand hand in hand.
Look at the back of the church.
To have and to hold
Frank Craig.
from this day forward.
He's just standing there, Mr. Dillon, just standing there and looking.
Slide out to the side aisle, Chester. Maybe we can get to him quietly without breaking up the meeting.
I think it's already broken up, Matt.
Hardis fainted, Mr. Dillon. She fell right on the floor.
Yeah. Come on, Chester. Pardon me. Would you let me through, please? I'm sorry, lady. Would you... One side, please.
He was right here by the door.
Outside, Chester.
Hell, no sign of her.
Matt, did you find him, Matt?
Not yet, Ben. Put that gun away. You want to kill some bystander in the crowd?
There's only one man I want to kill. I should have done it 3 days ago.
Yeah, I know, Ben. What'd they do with Miss Nash?
They carried her into the minister's study. That dirty, walking right into the church. Scared her out of her wits.
Marshal Dillon.
Oh, over here, Reverend.
Marshal, a terrible thing has happened. He forced his way into my study, pushed me out the door.
Craig?
Yes, he had a horse tied behind the church. He's gone and taken her with him.
He's kidnapped her, Matt. He's kidnapped her.
Save your breath, Ben. Get your horse. Come on, Chester, let's ride.
I never did think we'd get back to town, Mr. Dillon. I'm saddle sore and beat.
Yeah, Chester.
100 men hunting him, and he slipped past all of them. I swear I just can't figure it.
Any trace of him, Matt?
Not a sign, Kitty. Some of the boys are still beating the riverbed south, but I don't know.
Guess he kind of made fools of us, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, I guess so, Chester.
Matt,
What?
any luck?
Yeah, sure, Doc. All bad.
Yeah, mine too, Matt. That clerk died a half hour ago.
So now it's murder, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. Now it's murder. Hold up, boy. Well, let's go into the office and get out a bulletin. A bulletin. What a good that'll do. Light the lamp, will you, Chester?
Yes, sir. There we are.
Hold it, Matt. You too, Chester, don't move.
The only place nobody'd ever think of looking. Right here in the jail.
Yeah, that's what we figured.
Well, Miss Nash, you seem to be in pretty fair shape for a kidnapped victim.
I'm not a victim of anything, Mr. Dillon. Unless it's my own foolishness. That's what most people would say, I guess. Maybe they're right. I only know this. When Frank came back to town, I knew then that it wasn't over and never would be. I'm Frank's girl, Mr. Dillon. For better or worse, right or wrong. I'm going with him to Wyoming.
He's wanted on suspicion of murder, Miss Nash.
He didn't do it. He couldn't have. He was with me when it happened.
What did you say?
He slipped past Ben's guards and came to see me. That's why he wouldn't tell you where he'd been. He didn't want to get me in trouble.
He's telling the truth, Marshal.
Yeah, maybe.
Mr. Dillon, you might ask Ben Martin what happened to my red silk scarf. I missed it right after he came to see me that afternoon.
Go on.
He didn't do it for the money. But to ruin me once and for all.
If we were lying, we wouldn't have come here, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, it makes sense, all right, but Chester, who rode up out there?
It's Ben Martin, Mr. Dillon. Think he's coming in here?
Where's your horse, Frank?
In the corral back of the jail.
All right, go out the back way. Get it and head for Wyoming. Take one of my extra horses and leave it at Bison Flats. You can buy another horse from the Indians there.
Matt, I don't know how we can ever thank you for...
Never mind that. Just get going before I change my mind. And, good luck to both of you.
Thanks, Mr. Dillon.
Anybody here?
Yeah, come on in, Ben.
Saw the light on. Figured you must be here. Any sign of him? What's the matter?
The clerk died. Why'd you do it, Ben?
I don't know what you mean.
Where's the red scarf you stole from Miss Nash? I gotta arrest you for murder, Ben.
I don't think so, Matt. I don't think I'm going to let you do that.
You've seen me draw before. Now you better give me your gun, Ben. Don't do it the hard way.
What you call the hard way, Matt, may be the easiest way of all. So win or lose, I guess...
Something fell out of his pocket there.
Yeah. His marriage license.
You know, Chester, a morning like this makes a man glad to be alive.
Oh, it's a fine one, all right, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah.
A little nippy, maybe, but just fine.
Indian summer hanging on and winter holding off. You know, Chester, this time of year, I wouldn't trade western Kansas for everything east of the Mississippi. Oh, good. Pedro's got a fire going.
I built the fire, Marshal Dillon.
Oh, good morning, Caleb.
I've been waiting in this jail office for a full 2 hours. What time do you start work, Marshal?
You know Caleb Andrews, don't you, Chester?
Oh, yes, indeed. How are you, Mr. Andrews?
Marshal, I have an order here from the U.S. District Court. I believe it's your job to serve such orders.
Yeah, it is. I don't get 'em often, though. Order of foreclosure and eviction on Ed Blake. Why you doing this to Ed, Caleb?
The man borrowed money from me. Gave me a mortgage on his farm and household effects. He can't pay it. Why do you think I'm doing it?
It only came due 3 days ago. You sure didn't waste any time.
I'm not interested in your opinions, Marshal Dillon.
Yeah, amount of the mortgage. $420. What do you need with $420? You own half of Ford County now.
Marshal, it's not your place.
You know as well as I do why Ed Blake can't pay this off. His horse rolled on him last spring and broke his leg. And his wife and kid nearly broke their backs trying to get a crop out.
I didn't come here to listen
if
to
you let this ride on through the winter, you'll get your money out of it. If you go ahead and foreclose now, you'll wipe him out.
Marshal, I already have foreclosed.
You would break a man for $420 you don't even need, huh?
As I said, your opinions don't interest me. All I expect from you is to serve these papers.
All right, I'll serve them.
You'll notice they're to be served today.
I said I'd serve them. Now get out.
What?
This office belongs to the United States government, and as far as I know, that's one thing you got no mortgage on, so get out.
You may find I have some influence in Washington, Marshal Dillon.
Then see if you can get me a decent salary for this rotten job of mine.
It sure was a fine morning, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, it was. All right, Chester, let's saddle up.
This is one job I surely wish we didn't have to do, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah.
My, this sure is a nice farm. Ed and Martha have put in a lot of work here the last 4 years.
We don't have any choice, Chester.
Yes, sir, I know. It's a downright shame, though.
Hey, Marshal!
Oh, boy. Wow. Hi, Jimmy.
Looky here what I got, Marshal.
Well, looks to me like a mighty dead coyote.
Sure, that's what it is. He's been killing my chickens, so last night I hid out behind the barn.
Yeah?
I got him with one shot, Mr. Dillon, and there wasn't even a full moon.
Well, that's fine, Jimmy.
Matt Dillon, how are you?
Oh, good morning, Martha.
And Chester, too.
Miss Blake?
Well, I'm glad to see you. Get down, come on in.
Oh, thank you.
Jimmy, now that you showed that thing to Mr. Dillon, take it away somewhere.
All right, Mom. He sure is a big one, ain't he, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, about the biggest I ever saw, Jimmy.
He's real proud of those chickens of his. He's done fine with them. Well, here I am, though, keeping you standing out here in the yard. Come on, let's go inside.
Well, we really can't stay, Martha.
Oh, nonsense. You don't get out here once in a coon's age.
Yeah, I know, but you
And
see...
you're just in time. Your favorite dish, Matt. I was about to take it out of the oven when you rode up.
Cornbread. Buttermilk cornbread, huh?
That's right. Ed's not here, but you will say, won't you?
Well, Martha, I'd like to, but, well, we just can't, that's all. The thing is that, you say Ed's away?
Yes, he's in town. Matt, you're not yourself. What is it?
Well, I suppose I ought to talk to Ed about this, but maybe it'll be better if he hears it from you.
Here's what?
Martha, I got a court order here. It has to do with that mortgage of Caleb Andrews. It's a order of foreclosure and eviction and sale.
No. Oh, no.
Here it is.
We were so sure he'd extend it. He knows what happened, why we couldn't pay it. We were sure he'd extend it.
Well, he won't. I talked to him.
Matt, how long before we have to get out?
5 days.
So soon. You were right, Matt. It is better that Ed hears it from me. Coming on top of everything else, it'll... Well, I can't let it break him. I just can't let it break him.
Martha, if there's anything I can do, you let me know, huh?
Matt, I don't blame you for this. I understand. Well, come on in now and have some cornbread with us.
I couldn't. I'm sorry. Thank you anyway, Martha. But I just couldn't.
Matt, you looked low all week.
No, it's just things in general, Kitty. Sometimes you get to wondering if it's all worth it or not.
The Blakes, huh? Chester was telling me.
Chester talks too much.
It's not your fault, Matt. Somebody had to serve the order.
Somebody has to be hangman, too.
Life's never all good, Matt. There's always a little bad in it.
Well, in my job, it's more than a little.
Try making your living sometime as a dance hall girl.
Yeah, I guess. But when you gotta go out and boot somebody like the Blakes off their land and out of their home, then you start wondering what's right and what's wrong, that's all.
Well, if you find out, Matt, let me know. I've always...
Oh, there you are, Marshal. I stopped by the jail.
Well, all right, Caleb. What's on your mind?
That Blake family, Marshal, they were supposed to vacate today. Well, they haven't done it. I rode by there a little while ago.
According to the court order, they got until sundown.
But they haven't made the slightest preparation to... Marshal, I believe I'd prefer to discuss our business elsewhere than in the presence of this...
Easy, Caleb.
Matt, I'll go.
Caleb, you're going to apologize to Miss Kitty right now.
No.
Apologize? If you think I'm going to apologize to this cheap little baggage who's in it...
Matt, you shouldn't have done that.
Finnegan, take him outside and throw some water on him.
Yes, sir, Marshal.
Why not, Kitty? He had it coming to him.
He'll do everything he can to hurt you now. He'll take it out on the Blakes, too.
Yeah, maybe. Look, Kitty, I just got an idea. I'll see you later.
All right, Matt.
But, Matt, the mere fact a man runs a bank doesn't always mean he's got a free hand in everything he does. A bank has stockholders, a board of directors. I've got to listen to them.
I think they'd approve the loan, Clem.
Another thing, Caleb Andrews is the biggest account I've got. If I crossed him by taking this loan you suggest, Matt, he'd break me.
I see. All right, Clem. Forget it.
Matt, I realize I'm under obligation to you. You saved my life that time the James brothers held me up. Saved the bank, too, in fact, but...
That was part of my job, Clem. There's no obligation. I was just asking you as a friend to help out another friend.
Matt, I'd like to do it, but I just can't. Don't you see?
Yeah, sure, Clem. I see. Just forget it.
Gotta think of my wife and the two girls.
Yeah, of course you have.
It's not that I don't want to help.
I understand, Clem. I really do. Forget it.
There. That ought to hold it a while. That fire feels kind of good, Mr. Dillon. It's getting chillish out tonight.
Yeah, I guess we better have Pedro lay in some more wood.
Yes, sir. When winter sets in, it always makes you feel good to know you got a warm place to hole up. Be mighty rough not to have a...
Yeah, I was thinking of the same thing, Chester.
You suppose they vacated this afternoon?
I don't know. We'll ride out there in the morning and find out.
Sure is a shame. It's just too bad that...
Come in.
Can we bother you, Matt?
Ed! Oh, come in, Martha. Well, hiya, Jimmy. Come on up to the stove, folks. Come on.
Matt, the fact is that we kind of like to impose on you for tonight. We haven't got any place to go, no money. Wondered if we could sleep in the jail tonight.
Oh, sure, Ed. Chester, would you get a fire going back there?
All right, Mr. Dillon.
And dig up some blankets out of the storeroom, huh?
Yes, sir. Want to come help me, Jimmy? Jimmy?
Now, you go along with Chester now, boy. Go on.
All right.
He doesn't understand all this, Matt.
Ed, we may as well get your stuff out of the wagon, I guess.
Well, there ain't any wagon, man. We walked into town.
6 miles? With that leg?
I know, but that wagon, the horses, all the household goods, they're all covered by that mortgage. We didn't take anything. Except the clothes on our backs.
Oh, so help me, Ed. So help me if I could...
It's all right, Matt. We know how you feel. But after all, we started with nothing before. We can do it again.
But there's no reason you should have to.
We do have to, though. And that's that. Ed and I can accept it. We're not bitter any longer. Jimmy can't understand. He's been carrying on pretty bad, but he's just a boy. And in time, he'll be able to...
Dillon?
Yeah, what is it, Chester?
It's Jimmy. He grabbed a rifle from off the rack and took it out the back way. I couldn't stop him.
What?
But where on earth's he going?
I think I know where he's going. And heaven help Caleb Andrews if we don't catch him.
That's Mr. Andrews' house there on the corner. Looks dark, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, he may not be home. I sure hope he isn't.
No sign of the boy around. Reckon he broke in the house, Mr. Dillon?
Maybe. Anyhow, it's 10 to 1. This is where he headed for. His mother said he was real upset about it, and it's just like a kid that... Chester?
Hmm?
There's somebody back of that tree up there on the left.
Yeah. Think it's him?
I don't know. Just keep on walking. Yeah, it's him, all right. I can see the moonlight on the rifle barrel.
Will we try to rush him, Mr. Dillon?
Well, not unless you're thinking of suicide. I'm going to talk to him, Chester. Jimmy? It's me, Matt Dillon.
Go away, Mr. Dillon. Better go away now. Don't bother me.
I can't do that, Jimmy. You're a friend of mine, and I figure you're waiting here to do something that you'd be sorry for, and I can't let you do that.
Nothing you can do about it, Mr. Dillon. I got a gun here, and I'm going to kill him. You go away now and leave me alone.
Jimmy, I know how you feel. I don't like Caleb either, but killing him's no answer. You folks feel bad enough already. Think how it would hurt him if you did.
Stop, Mr. Dillon. I'll stay where you are. Don't come any closer.
I have to, Jimmy. It's my job. So if you're going through with this, I guess you'll have to kill me first.
No, Mr. Dillon. Now stay back.
I'm sorry, Jimmy. I don't have a choice. But you do.
No. I couldn't shoot you, Mr. Dillon. You know that.
Sure. I knew you couldn't.
I kept waking up nights and hear Mom crying. Dad would sit up all night without the lamp lit, no fire, not saying anything, just sitting.
Easy now, Jimmy.
Why is he doing it to us, Mr. Dillon?
Jimmy, listen to me. Will you do something for a friend?
Yeah. If you say so.
All right. Then take that rifle back to the jail and put it in the rack and go to bed. Now, you promise?
Yeah. I promise, Mr. Dillon. I'm sorry. I'll do like you say.
You're all right, Jimmy. Good night, son.
I could have told you Clem Bates wouldn't do anything, Matt. He wouldn't dare. He'd be scared Caleb would take his money out of the bank.
Yeah, that's about what he said. I don't know, Kitty. I've done everything I could possibly think
Oh, the
of.
worst of it is everybody in town's just as scared of Caleb as Clem is. I doubt if they'll even have the nerve to bid against him at the sale.
Yeah, I know. He'll probably get the place at not much more than the amount of the mortgage.
$420. Matt, I've seen more than that change hands across a poker table here in one deal. You think that's all it takes?
I beg your pardon, Miss Kitty.
Oh, of course, Jack.
I'm not usually one to eavesdrop on people, but I have been listening to you, too.
Jack, have you met Marshal Dillon?
No, I haven't had the pleasure. The reason I butted in, Miss Kitty, I heard you talking about these people losing their home. I don't know this fellow Blake. He's never done any business over my table and probably never will.
No, I don't think he's ever been in here.
And I don't know if this will make sense. But the thing is, I left home when I was 10 years old, and I've been drifting ever since. When I see somebody like this Blake that sticks it out and works and fights and gets a raw deal. Well, what I'm getting at, here's $50 if that'll help him any.
Jack.
Well, this is awful decent of you, Jack.
Matt, I said a while ago that nearly everyone in town was afraid of Caleb.
Yeah?
Well, there's some who aren't. Like Jack here and me and the rest of the dealers and the gamblers and the girls and the bartenders.
That's right, Miss Kitty.
Because we're drifters. We got nothing to lose. Matt, I'll raise $420 right here in the Texas Trail.
By heaven, Kitty, I think you could.
Well, I can't do as well as Jack, but... here's 20 from me. Boys! Everybody! Now listen to me for a minute. I got something to say.
He's sure taking his time getting here, Chester.
Well, I told him what you said, Mr. Dillon.
Well, that ought to bring him on the run, if anything will. Anytime Caleb figures he's about to lose $1 or $2, it's hitting him where it hurts.
The Blakes turned in for the night?
Yeah, I guess so. It's been quiet back there for the last few.
Marshal, what's this all about?
Well, shut the door, Caleb. We're trying to keep it warm in here.
Would you mind telling me why I've been called over here at this time of night?
Yeah, sure. Here's $420. The Blakes want to pay off the mortgage.
They do they?
The court costs up to now will probably run about $10. I'll pay that myself.
That's mighty generous of you. Well, good night, Marshal.
Is it a deal, then?
I am not the least bit interested in having that mortgage paid off, Marshal Dillon. The Blake farm is worth about $2,000 now, and in 5 years it'll be worth 3 times that much. Land's going up in Ford County. That's why I'm grabbing every piece I can get. So I don't want the money. I want the farm. And when it's put up for sale, I'll get it at my own price. The foreclosure still goes.
I see.
Good night, gentlemen.
Well, I guess that's that, Mr. Dillon.
I don't know why I even thought he'd take the money. The Blakes won't get a cent out of the sale. He'll scare everybody off and bid it in a few dollars over the amount of the mortgage, and nobody in town will even try to...
Try to what, Mr. Dillon?
Chester, I'm going over and wake up Clem Bates. I got an idea, and if it works, we'll hold that sale at noon tomorrow.
That's pretty short notice to find an auctioneer.
I don't need an auctioneer, Chester. This one I'm going to run myself. All right, everybody. All right. Now, all of you know what we're here for. This is a foreclosure sale of the property and household effects of Edward and Martha Blake, ordered by the court at the request of that fine-spirited, good-hearted public benefactor and friend and neighbor of us all, Caleb Andrews.
Marshal Dillon, I refuse to tolerate this.
Caleb, I think we better get one thing straight right now. The law tells me I got to conduct this sale, but the law doesn't tell me what I got to say while I'm conducting it.
Get on with it. Get on with the sale.
All right. Now, the first item I'm offering is a breadboard. Ms. Blake tells me she's used this for nearly 10 years.
That's a lot of loaves of bread, a lot of years. As you can see, it's pretty badly battered up. I doubt if it'd be worth much to anybody unless they were used to it. Suppose we started at 50 cents. Is there anybody here low enough to bid 50 cents for Mrs. Blake's breadboard? How about you, Caleb?
I'm not interested in the item. Get on with the sale.
Anybody else? No? All right, then. The second item. It's a crib. Now, you'll notice it's handmade. Rough construction. Never been painted. And it's been well used. Ed built it himself 12 years ago, just before Jimmy was born. There are teeth marks all over the slats here, but that doesn't really hurt anything. There are
Marshal Dillon, may I suggest you lump the household effects together and offer them as one bulk item?
I'm sorry, Caleb. I'd rather offer them one at a time. Yes. Unless, of course, you'd care to waive all claim to the household effects and withdraw them from the order of foreclosure.
I waive the claim. The household goods are withdrawn. Now get on to the house and land.
So ordered. Now, the item offered is 160 acres of tillable land, a 4-room house, and a barn. I won't read through the description. You all know the property. It's a good farm. The amount of the mortgage is $420, held by Caleb Andrews. All right, the bidding's open. What am I offered?
$450.
I have $450 from Caleb Andrews. Do I hear another bid? Oh, the farm's worth $2,000. You're going to let him have it for $450? How about another bidder?
Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, what is it, Chester?
Well, I've been thinking some lately of getting me a little place like this and settling down. I'll bid $1,000.
I have $1,000. Do I hear another bid?
It's a trick. He doesn't want this place.
$1,000. Going once?
$1,200.
Caleb Andrews bids $1,200. What do you say, Chester?
Well, sir, I think I kind of like this farm. $1,500.
This is ridiculous.
The bid is $1,500. Going once. Going twice.
$1,600.
$1,600 from Mr. Andrews. Chester?
$8,420.
He never had that much money in his whole life.
Do I hear another bid? Oh, what do you say, Caleb?
Do you think I'm a fool?
Going once, going twice. Sold. The Chester Proudfoot for $8,420. The buyer will come forward and complete the sale.
Don't you worry none about me, Mr. Andrews. I got it right here. There's $8,000 in $500 bills, and here is the $420.
Where did you ever get that much in cash?
Well, I save my pay, Mr. Andrews. Then, of course, I drink just mostly beer. It adds up after a while.
Caleb, I guess $420 of this is yours. And that takes care of the mortgage. Well, Ed, looks like you made a pretty fair profit on the place.
Yeah, a lot better than I expected.
Here's
Matt.
your money.
Thank you, Matt. But I tell you, I'd still rather have the farm than the money.
Well, now, I've been sort of thinking it over, Mr. Blake. Maybe I kind of lost my head. But when you come right down to it, I don't know what I'd ever do with a farm, so if you'd like to buy it, I'll take a $420 loss and sell it back to you for $8,000 cash.
Done. Here's your money.
This is unheard of. They can't do it, Marshal.
Well, as far as I know, there's no law against a man selling his own property.
Now, the way I see it, Mr. Andrews, is right this minute you're a trespasser on my property. Come on, let's go.
Let go. Gracie. Who do you think you're landing?
Chester, you better get that $8,000 back to the bank. Clem Bates is probably worrying himself into a breakdown for fear somebody will find out that he let us have it.
All right, Mr. Dillon, I'll see you in town later.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt, I don't know how we can ever thank you for what you've done.
Not me, Martha. Thank the bunch that work at the Texas Trail. You know, they're bums and drifters, most of them.
But when Kitty told them the story, they really came through.
We'll pay it back, Matt, every cent of it. And, well, that girl, Kitty, I guess I've said some hard things about her in the past, but... Matt, will you ask her to come out to dinner some afternoon?
What?
I'd like to thank her myself.
Sure, Martha. I'll ask her. And I think she'll appreciate that more than you'll ever know. A stranger named Joe Beaudry killed a man in Dodge and then got on his horse and rode 90 miles northwest. He made it across the Smoky Hill River before his horse played out and fell behind a small knoll. Beaudry put a knife in him and settled down to wait. Half-hour later, he shot my horse out from under me and crippled Chester's with a slug in the shoulder. And then he gave up. He just threw down his guns and walked toward us across the prairie, his hands in the air.
You think it's a trick, Mr. Dillon?
I don't know, Chester, but if he makes a move, I'll kill him.
Yes, sir.
That's far enough, Beaudry. Now turn around.
I ain't armed, Marshal.
No. You know, I'm curious, Beaudry. Why didn't you shoot it out?
I don't want to kill anybody, Marshal.
You killed a man in Dodge.
He went for his gun. I had to.
Some of the witnesses say he didn't.
Oh, sure. Friends of his. I heard him. That's why I lit out.
Man looks guilty when he runs. You should have stayed and faced it.
Now, what
there.
kind of shake could I get in a strange town, Marshal? Everybody be against me.
The law will protect you if you're innocent. You'll have to stand trial now anyway.
Well, maybe I made a mistake, but I'm still alive.
Yeah, and a long way from Dodge.
Say, by gracious, that's right. How are we going to get back, Mr. Dillon?
Well, we crossed the Overland Express route about 5 miles back. We'll just walk to the road and wait for a stage, I guess.
Yeah, but the stage don't go up to Dodge from here, sir.
Well, we'll take it into Fort Donner. Maybe the Army will lend us some horses there, and we can turn them back at Fort Dodge.
Marshal.
Yeah.
Well, I know you don't owe me no favors, Marshal, but I never been arrested before. I'd be kind of ashamed in front of everybody on stage.
Well, that's tough, Beaudry. What do you expect me to do?
Well, only a little thing, Marshal. Won't make any difference to you. Just don't let them know that you're taking me in is all.
All right, Beaudry. I guess it doesn't matter.
Thanks.
I'm not wearing a badge anyway. But you make one move, and I'll hog-tie you, and you'll ride on the roof. Or you'll be dead.
Well, it's a deal, Marshal.
You'll get a fair trial, Beaudry. If you're innocent, you'll go free.
Well, if it is a fair trial, I'm going back to California. I don't know why I ever left it.
You come from California?
Yeah. Hey, Marshal, look, is it all right if I lug my saddle back with me?
Yeah, sure. We're not leaving ours. Chester, I'll go with Beaudry and get his guns.
Yes, Mr. Dillon. I sure do wish you'd stop closer to the stage road, though, Beaudry. 5 miles is a long way packing a saddle.
Go take care of your horse, Chester. Let's get out of here.
Yes, sir. It's a doggone shame, though. That was a mighty good horse.
Come on, Beaudry.
I sure hope the stage hasn't gone by already, Mr. Dillon.
Why don't you get off your back and look down the road, Chester?
Well, I declare. Look yonder, it's a-comin'. And it's painted bright red, too, Mr. Dillon.
Hey, what if they don't stop for us, Marshal?
Road agents don't usually carry their saddles. The driver will notice that if he's awake.
Driving a 6-horse hitch ought to keep him awake.
Yeah, but not sober.
That's a shotgun the messenger's holding.
He doesn't need it. We want to ride, that's all.
Where's your horses?
Marshal, please, you remember what you said.
We lost them.
You don't look like greenhorns to me.
It can happen to anyone.
That's cool. The one in the middle ain't even armed. Pick 'em up, Hank.
All right, Berryman, it's your treasure box. How far are you going?
Fort Donner.
It's about 60 miles to Fort Downer. You're crowding us. That'll be 15 cents a mile.
15 cents. How much is that, Mr. Dillon?
About $9, Chester.
$9 apiece, that is, and payable right here.
All right. It's high, but I can't argue with you now. Here you are. 20, 5, 6, 7.
All right, mister. Get in. I don't know how the passengers are going to like this, though.
You got room for a couple more in here?
Anybody can't keep his horse ought to walk home.
There's room for 2, maybe, but not 3.
Oh?
Take a look for yourself, mister.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Chester?
Oh, no, sir, I can't.
I don't want Beaudry on top. You'll have to get up there, Chester.
Well, I guess you're right, sir. But I think you fellas ought to charge us less if I can't ride inside.
The Overland stage guarantees a ride, mister. Comforts the passengers' problem.
Get in, Beaudry.
Yeah.
Now get fixed somehow. You've held us up long enough.
Give me a hand.
You don't look like a judge, mister.
I'm not a judge.
Well, you must be important somehow. We order these men around, and that fellow on top there calls you sir.
Dillon? Well, let's just say that I'm sort of the boss of this outfit, mister.
What'd you say your name was?
I didn't say. It happens to be Dillon.
Oh, I'm Zimmer. Old man here called himself Gant.
My name is Cain. I ain't ashamed of it. I don't give a long hoot what any of you call yourselves.
Gant's kind of crusty, but he's sober. That's more than I can say for the other 2 here. They only wake up long enough to pull on that jug they got and get drunk enough to go back to sleep.
Well, that's not a bad way to travel if your stomach can stand it, I guess.
No, it ain't. Do it myself if I was younger.
What business you in, Dillon?
You ask too many questions, Zimmer. You ain't got no manners.
Nobody's asking you, old man.
Good. Then I don't have to listen to your gobbling.
Now, listen here, Gant. Any more out of you, and I'll tear you apart.
You can't spook me. I'm too old. 85, mister. Would you believe it?
No, sir, I wouldn't. That's mighty old. You sure don't look it.
I knew Meriwether Lewis, mister. Met him in St. Louis when he and Clark come back from the Pacific.
Now who's doing all the talking?
Leave him be, Zimmer. There's no harm in passing the time.
Look, mister. You may be the boss of these other fellas, but you don't run me.
Nobody's trying to run you. Just take it easy.
Don't pay him no mind, Dillon. He's just nervous about something.
What are you driving at, old man?
We'll be at Monument Station in about an hour, Dillon. Spend the night there. Hope the chow's improved. Last time I was there, all I had was fat pork. One pastor says, I never eat fat pork. So the cook told him, well, then just help yourself to the mustard.
Monument Station was a long, low hut made of sun-dried, mud-colored bricks with a flat roof thatched and then sodded. The one building served as an eating room in the daytime and a bunkhouse at night. There wasn't much air inside, and after dinner, fat pork and mustard, Chester, Beaudry, and I went out to the corral for a smoke.
My gracious alive, I hate to think of sleeping in there. All those men, why, a fella could suffocate. And I'll bet that stock tender hasn't washed himself since he left home.
He said he washed his blankets anyways, just this morning.
Yeah, sure. You know how? He spreads it on an anthill for a couple of hours.
Oh, well, that settles it. I'm sleeping outside.
All right, Chester. We just don't get too cozy. Half the night you're standing guard over Beaudry here. I'll watch him the other half.
Well, I'm not going to run away, Marshal.
You ran once, Beaudry.
All right, I'll tell you something, and maybe you'll trust me a little then.
Tell me what?
Would you like to know who Zimmer is?
Zimmer? He that real testy fella? I don't like him at all. He's always on the prod about something or other.
Wait a
just
minute,
little
Chester.
Bit ago,
Wait a minute. What about Zimmer, Beaudry?
His real name is Chess Rhine.
So?
Well, at least that's the name was under his picture.
Well, where was his picture, Beaudry?
Well, in California, tacked onto a pole.
Go on.
Well, I think the reward was $500. Of course, I ain't certain.
You sure it was his picture?
Yeah, Marshal, I'm sure. Heard a lot of talk about him in Sacramento just before I left.
What kind of talk?
Well, like one time he rode in a stagecoach as a passenger, and he was peaceful enough until some fellows on horses, they stopped that stage in a canyon somewheres, and then this here Chess Ryan, he pulled a gun on the other passengers, and he disarmed them, whilst the boys outside unloaded the treasure box. They had an extra saddle horse along, and Ryan, he rode off with them. That's the way I heard it.
Seems to me he went to a lot of trouble.
Sometimes the passengers give road agents as much fight as the driver and messenger, Chester. They feel safe because they're inside.
Yeah, and that's what Chess Ryan figured. What, are you going to arrest him, Marshal?
I can't arrest a man without cause, Baudry. You may be telling the truth, but I don't know that for sure. I can check on Zimmer when we get to Fort Donner, but all I can do till then's keep an eye on him.
Well, this stage will be robbed long before it gets to Fort Donner, Marshal.
Yeah, maybe, but not without a fight. Thanks for telling me, Baudry, and for your sake, I hope it's the truth. If it isn't, you're going to be in more trouble than you are now. All right, keep an eye on him, Chester. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Yes, sir.
Berryman?
Yeah?
Out here a minute, will you?
What's up, mister?
I want to talk to you, that's all. Alone. Come on outside, huh?
Be right back, Hank. Save some of that whiskey for me.
Right, Barry.
What's on your mind, mister?
How long you been an express messenger, Berryman?
2 years? Not that it's any business of yours.
Did you run into any trouble in that time?
Some? Why?
I just want to know if you can handle yourself, that's all.
You want to find out?
Look, Berryman, you know my name. It's Dillon. I'm Matt Dillon. I'm the U.S. Marshal out of Dodge.
Dillon. Yeah, I think I remember seeing you there.
Good. Now tell me this. You carrying much in that treasure box of yours?
The messenger who brought it as far as Pond Creek said it was $50,000, unsigned currency, mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Something up, Marshal?
Well, maybe. Tell me, what's the best place for a holdup between here and Fort Donner?
Well, Willow Bend, I expect. Man on a horse could keep hidden there till we were right on top of him.
All right, tell the driver to whip those horses through Willow Bend as fast as they'll go. Chester will be on the roof to help you, and I'll sort of organize the passengers inside.
Well, now, if there's going to be a holdup, Marshal, you
Well,
should...
I don't know, but we'll play it safe. And, by the way, Berryman, don't let on inside there about this, huh? Or, who I am. All right?
Okay, Marshal.
Thank you. Good night, Berryman.
Night, Marshal. Oh, Marshal.
Yeah?
We got a jug of station whiskey inside if you want a drink.
I don't think it'd do much good. I've heard of that stuff freezing solid on a cold night. Next morning, just after sunup, the stage left Monument Station. It was 10 miles to Willow Bend and 12 miles to the next change of horses at a small swing station run by a lone stock tender. Zimmer, or Chess Ryan, if that's who he was, seemed nervous. Too nervous for an experienced road agent, but maybe he had figured me for what I was, and that gave him the jumps. Anyway, I sat next to him so I could handle him faster if and when the time came. We drove at an easy pace until we neared the bend. Then the driver popped his whip over the teams, and they began to run hard. But suddenly he was pulling them in and braking at the same time. One move by Zimmer at that point, and I'd have killed or crippled him.
What are we stopping here for? Hey, driver, what's up?
Wheels been dragging. Couldn't you feel it pull?
All right, everybody out.
Well, what's the idea, driver? What's wrong?
The wheel's stuck. Can't pull it off with you in there. Come on, hurry it up.
Baudry,
Huh?
Get over there by Chester.
Well, don't you worry about me. You keep an eye on Marine.
Go on now.
Come on.
What do you think, Dylan?
Well, they'd have jumped us by now, Berryman, while everybody was still inside. But keep your head up anyway. You watch the other side of the coach. I'll stay here.
Okay.
What do you mean it wasn't greased? Why not?
It's sizzling hot. Have to cool before we can take it off. That drunken fool at Monument didn't grease this one, that's all. Take a bullwhip to him when I get back there.
Well, you can grease it now, can't you?
I could, mister, if I had any grease.
Well, you mean you haven't got any?
Not unless I render you down and make some. Now get out of my way.
Well, any more of that and I'll... All right, forget it. What are we going to do?
How about grass, driver?
Hey, that's an idea.
Wrap it around the spindle and go till it wears out. It won't last long, but we can keep putting it on till we get to the next station.
We'll be all day stopping every half mile. Why don't you greenhorns ask a real man how to fix it?
All right, Pop. How are we going to fix it?
Cheese?
Cheese?
Yeah, cheese. It works fine, too.
Yeah, it might at that.
I suppose you brought some cheese along just in case, Pop, huh?
I brought it along to eat. You get it? But I'll let you have it. It's in my carpet bag.
Old Gant's cheese worked fine, and we left Willabend without more trouble. I began to figure Baudry for a liar, but he just sat there, staring out at the prairie, and said nothing. A few miles further on, as we approached the swing station, I heard a shout from the messenger, and then Baudry pointed ahead, and I leaned out to take a look. The station was a small one-room adobe hut with the usual corral at the rear, but there wasn't a horse in sight. And out of the two windows facing us poured thin streams of white smoke. As the stage pulled to a stop, I saw two arrows embedded in the half-open door.
Come on, look at them there.
Wait a minute. Let me take a look in there.
Let's all take a look, Zimmer.
Where's the stock tender? They kill him?
They tried to fire the place, but it just smoldered.
Who are those two men?
I don't know. But this one's still alive.
Well, that's the stock tender. But who are those two?
Never mind them. They're dead.
Scalp. Indian sure must have surprised him. Sneaked right up.
All right, Berryman, let's get the stock tender out of this smoke. Take his head there.
Yeah. They scalped him, too. And he ain't even dead.
Never mind that. Just pick him up easy. It's all right, fella. Stage is here.
Indians, Comanches, they scalped me. Never even heard them.
Ask him who those other men were. What were they doing here?
Leave him be. The man's dying.
Water. Give me a drink.
Chester, get the water bag.
Yes, sir.
Can't you let the man alone, Dillon?
Scalped 3 men and stole the horses. That's Comanches for you.
Here's the water, sir.
Oh, thanks. Here, fella. Here now. Take a drink. There we go.
Road agents. Those two. They held me up. They said they'd hide till the horses were unhitched. And then hold up the stage. Had a partner on the stage to keep the passengers out of it.
What was his name? Their partner, I mean.
Put my head down, mister. It's bubbling over.
The stock tender's eyes clouded up and went blank as I lay his head back. And then there was a scuffle behind me, and before anybody could move, Zimmer grabbed Gant, and using him as a shield, he walked backward toward the stage. The old man stopped struggling when he felt Zimmer's gun in his back, and the rest of us just stood there watching, helpless.
First man draws a gun, Gant'll die.
You gave yourself away, Chess Ryan.
Take it easy, man. Take it easy. This fool's nervous.
Shut up. You, driver. Lead those teams down the road a piece, and then come back here. Jan and I'll take the stage alone. Come on!
You better do what he says, driver. He's scared enough to shoot.
Guess I better.
What are you stopping for? Take him 50 yards down there.
Can't do it. That wheel's froze up again. He ain't going anywhere at that stage.
Might as well give up right now, you young fool.
I never did like you, Gant.
Ryan, listen to me. You've made your play and you've lost. If you give up now, the charges will be attempted robbery. If you don't, they'll probably turn into murder.
Who are you anyway, mister?
I'm a U.S. Marshal.
Well, you're not arresting nobody. Not unless you want Gant dead. You make a move and his blood will be on your hands, Marshal.
You can't hold him there forever, Ryan. The stage going west passes through sometime today. What'll you do then?
He's right. That stage passes this station about noon. I drive it myself half the time.
I'll think of something. First, I want all you men to unload your weapons. Line up and throw them in a pile there. One at a time. Would you even start to try anything, and I'll blow a hole in the old man.
You think you would, Mr. Dillon?
He's so nervous now, it's a wonder he doesn't do it by accident, Chester.
I get going. Don't stand there. One at a time now. And use 2 fingers to do it.
All right, man, you better do as he says.
Now. Go ahead. Easy. All right. Next man.
Beaudry.
Yeah?
You're the only man who might
There's
stop
mine.
this.
How?
Pretend to join him.
You trust me that much?
I have to.
Okay.
All right, easy now. 2 fingers. All right. Next man.
Ryan.
Hold it right there, Poultry.
Well, I'm not armed, Ryan. Look. But you know why?
Too yellow, maybe.
Oh, the marshal's got my gun. I'm under arrest.
He's taking you in, is that it?
He was, till I woke up just now. I killed a man in Dodge, Ryan. They want to hang me for it.
Now, Beaudry, we told you you'd get a fair trial,
Chester,
and what's more...
shut up.
Yes, sir.
Well, look, you haven't got much chance alone, Ryan. But you and me, we can disarm these men, throw away their guns, and ride off on those horses without the coach.
You do that, Beaudry, and I'll quit my job and run you down if I have to chase you all the way to Oregon. I couldn't show up in Dodge after this anyway.
Well, I'll be watching for you, Marshal. It beats hanging. Well, how about it, Ryan?
Make a fool out of Dillon, huh? I like that. All right, pick up a gun, Beaudry, and get over here.
I'm warning you, Beaudry.
Sorry. I figure I'll live longer this way, Marshal.
Here. You hold the old man, Beaudry. I want a free hand.
Yeah. I'll kill Gant quicker than Ryan would. If any of you men try anything.
You heard him. Now, let's get this over with. Fast.
Ryan, I want to tell you something.
That's far enough, Marshal. All that...
That gun in your hand, Ryan, you better keep it on me. You even glance at Beaudry, and I'll draw and kill you.
What are you talking about?
You shoot me, and Beaudry will kill you from behind.
What? That's right, Ryan. Gant, you walk back over towards the hut so you can see I'll let you go.
He'd trick you, too. But I can still kill you, Marshal.
Yeah, that's right, Ryan. You can still kill me. But I'm paid to die. I settled that in my mind when I took this job. It's only a matter of time. But what about you, Ryan? You ready to die?
You can't do this.
I'm doing it, Ryan. I'm doing it now. I'm going to walk right up to you, and you're going to give me that gun.
Stop, Marshal.
I'll put a slug in your spine if you shoot, Ryan.
Let me have the gun, Ryan. Easy,
No.
Ryan. Now!
Did he hit you, Mr. Dillon?
No, he waited a second too long.
Worked, Marshal. By golly, it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, you did fine, Beaudry. I'm going to remember it.
Yeah.
Now, give me back that gun.
You still gonna take me in?
Of course.
No, that don't seem fair, Dillon.
I'm only a marshal, Baudry, not a judge.
Oh. I'm not sure I wouldn't rather die right here.
Wait, Baudry. Now, I'll testify at your trial, and I promise you it'll be a fair one, but that's all. Now, give me the gun.
You don't make it easy, Marshal.
My job's to bring you in. Any way I can get you there.
Dead or alive, huh?
That's right.
Here's the gun.
Thank you. The next day, I turned Chess Ryan over to the Army at Fort Donner. The colonel wanted credit for sending him back to California, and I wanted to be rid of him. It took us 3 days to ride back to Dodge. On the way, we got to be real good friends with Joe Baudry. I wouldn't let him have his gun back. But even so, he managed to supply us with antelope steaks every morning. I made him borrow Chester's gun.